This might just be the prettiest blue dial I have seen on any watch. Check it out. Hey everybody, Mike from Just Watch, back with another Just Watch review. Everybody, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to check out our content. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button below. Remember to hit the like button, and also if you want to get first notice, hit the little bell icon so you get notification when I release a new episode. Today we are taking a look at the Seiko SBDC069. This is a JDM, or Japanese Domestic Model Sumo. And as I said in that quick little intro, probably the nicest, or one of the nicest blue dials I've seen yet. And that's going back, quite a few blue watches that I've taken a look at over the years, whether we're talking about Breitling or some Rolex and some others. They really nailed the blue on this. It's like a sunburst type of thing, and it just glows. The color, everything about it is really fantastic. So we're going to give you guys a closer look. I was interested in seeing this watch because we have seen over the last year, and I've documented it here on this channel, that Seiko has had some issues with their QC over the last year. So I wanted to get in some new pieces and see if they're doing any better, if the issues are continuing, if they've resolved, etc., etc., etc. So let's take a look at this watch under the lights, and we'll give you guys a better look. All right, everybody, thanks. All right, so here we are under the lights with the SBDC069 Blue Coral Edition Sumo. This is a JDM, or Japanese Domestic Model watch, that you can only buy in Japan or off of a website based in Japan. I got this one from japanonline.com. I'll give you guys a link in the comments. Just for the record, they did not sponsor this. I actually purchased the watch because I wanted it for my own collection and to check out and to do a review on. So nothing there as far as sponsored content or anything like that. Let's run you through the watch real quick. 45 millimeter case, that's diameter from the 9 to the 3. No crown, of course, because the crown is at 4 o'clock. 53 millimeter long from lug to lug and 13 millimeters thick. Of course, this being a Sumo, it has Seiko's wonderful zaratsu finishing. You can see all the different angles and lines that they incorporate in there, and also that just gorgeous brushed finish combo, and the way it goes straight to the polished, and just everything is really sharp and beautiful. So Seiko does just an incredible job with their case finishing all around. You can also see the flanks on the sides of the case that come up over the side of the bezel and give it a little bit of protection. And of course, as we already mentioned, the crown, which is signed at the 4 o'clock position. I really enjoy wearing this case. I know it sounds big, but it does not wear that big. And I'll give you guys a wrist shot in a second so you can check that out. The crown itself, very easy to operate, no problems. Screws down, of course, with it being a diver. Very solid clicks to half clutch and full clutch. And look at that, I stopped it right at the 12. And also setting time is not a problem at all. It is very precise when you are coming around, and the date pops over nicely between midnight and 1 a.m. So nothing to worry about here with the crown. We'll come back around to about 10:08 or so, and we'll pop that back in, or 10:10. That works too. And we'll lock that back down. Now, for the record, this crown was a little bit notchy when I first got the watch. It just didn't feel like it wanted to sit down right. I don't know if they left a little bit of extra thread on there or just didn't clean up the threads good enough. It has since gone away and everything feels fine now. So it was about the first 5 or 6 times or so that I opened and closed it. You could definitely feel like it almost would want to cross thread or something. That has since gone away and there are no issues there. Take a look at the dial here. Of course, as I mentioned, probably one of the nicest looking blue dials I've seen on any watch. I used to own a Breitling Colt Super Ocean with the blue dial, and I have to say this watch gives that watch a run for the money as far as gorgeous blue dials goes. And that Breitling Colt Super Ocean is really well known for its wonderful blue dial. And just the touch of yellow between the second hand and then the 12369 hour markers, that little touch of yellow really just makes it pop as well. You can see too, I'm glad to report that the chapter ring is perfectly aligned with the index markers, and the bezel is off by maybe not even a half of a degree towards the 11 you can see there. It is just off just slightly. I've actually seen Rolexes off more than this one, so not something that I'm going to worry about too much. I really enjoy the handset on this watch, I have to say. It is one of my favorite Seiko dive watch handsets, and I actually wish that they used this handset with this second hand on more of their watches instead of that broad hour hand thing that they use on the SBDC061 and 063, and also the 051 and 053. Let's give you guys a look at the lume too. So you can see typical Seiko as far as that goes. Their Lumibrite luminous material is just fantastic, and I think it's as good as anything out there in the industry right now. You can just see how strong it is. It's like a glow stick. So good stuff there from Seiko as far as the luminous material goes. The movement on this, of course, with it being a Sumo, is a 6R15, so you're getting 23 joules, anti-magnetic, shock-proof, and also 50 hours of power reserve. Good stuff there as far as the movement goes. I haven't taken the caseback sticker off yet, but I kind of like to leave them on at first. I know it's weird, but that's me. I just recalled that as I'm talking about the movement, that I forgot to give you guys a look at the caseback. So there is your look at the caseback from Seiko. Typical stuff for a Seiko diver with the Tsunami Wave logo, and of course all your signing and all of that good stuff. Last, let's run you through the bracelet real quick. And this is actually one of the areas where I think Seiko needs to improve, make some improvements. It's beautifully finished, of course. You have polished little tiny bit on the inside, on the edges of the center links, brushed finish on the tops, and of course polished finish on the sides. It is a pin and collar size adjustment, which is denoted by the arrows that you can see. Let me see if I can get those arrows so you can see it. There you go. So those arrows tell you which way to push when you're pushing the pin out, and the collar, of course, will be on this size as you're adjusting it. External pin tool adjustment for micro adjust, which is not a big deal as far as I'm concerned. Twin trigger clasp, and then, of course, stamped inner pieces. I would really like to see Seiko at this price, $500 and up. I think they should be offering screw pins and also machined inner pieces. I mean, it closes very nicely, and it's nice and light, and it sits very nice and flat on the wrist, so no complaints there. It's also contoured to fit your wrist nicely. I just think for the price, for $500 plus US, I think we should be getting a little bit more out of a bracelet from Seiko. I forgot to give you guys a wrist shot, so I'm sure you guys want to see what it looks like on the wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist, so there you can see 45 millimeters definitely doesn't overwhelm my wrist by any means. And as I said before, it sits down so nice and flat that it just wears really nicely. I think even if you have like a 6.5 or 6 3/4 inch wrist, you can get away with wearing this watch, and I think it looks fantastic on the wrist. It's very strong. It's also nicely balanced. It doesn't want to rotate around at all when you are wearing it, which I appreciate. I think that's partly helped by the curvature of the lugs. It just sits really nicely on the wrist. All right, that is it for looking at this under the lights. Let's go back out and do our outro and get out of here. So that's it for the Seiko Blue Coral Sumo. I really like this watch. I think there's some things that Seiko needs to address going forward though. First off, I think they need to step it up in their bracelet game. The look on the bracelet is very strong. I really like an oyster style bracelet, and they've done some nice finishing details on this. But to me, at this price range, a $500 watch, there's so much out there now where you can get screw pins instead of pin and collar. You can get machined pieces on the inside of the clasp instead of these stamped pieces, and just a nicer weight bracelet overall compared to what you're getting here from the Sumo. I think that needs to be addressed, and I also think they need to address the crystal. You guys know I don't have any issue with Harlex, and I've had a whole bunch of watches with Harlex crystals over the years. I've never had an issue, but it's not sapphire, and it's not as good as sapphire. And I think that Seiko needs to address this with the watches. There's a lot of watches. If you go back and look at the Spinnaker I just reviewed, it's under $300, and it comes with a sapphire crystal and a Seiko movement. So Seiko is charging us a premium for a 6R15 movement, and I don't know that there's really any necessary upgrade from the 4R35 to the 6R15. In my experience over the last year, the 4R35s have actually kept better time, and I haven't heard about as many issues with the 4R35 as I have with the 6R15. So that's something else to consider as well as far as Seiko goes. But anyways, If you like the watch and you really love the look as I do, it might be a worthy investment, or if you're a Seiko collector and you want to add it to your collection, you're surely not going to be disappointed with it. All right, everybody, thank you again for tuning into this episode. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give us the like, give us the thumbs up, and hit that notification button. Thank you again for watching. We will be back soon with another video.